here we go. Listen, I would be on slant on this one. I gotta be on slant. I'll tell you why, because things are getting a little slanted here. I'm not the one holding the rule of the pen, but I've been sharing that. They're measuring and weighing to others. And obviously, they're not. Maybe they got the shit together, but not quite up to par. So let me move on. What I have to do here, and what I have to say about what I have to say and do about. First, let me get my glasses here. Look at that. Forget the glasses. Let me just tell you this. This video, of course, you know, it's, as you know, as you see, I try to give you something that it's not necessarily original. I don't know of any original thoughts, anything from me. Don't expect it. Not that I'm a copycat, but you know, I'm one of a kind, but I'm not original as a human being. Oh man, we have something here that's put together. Well, it was pretty much the man in charge, the one individual, Philip Schneider, took on the responsibility to put together this particular informative, you know, things that you're not allowed to know, should know, but look, this is a free world. There's many. I have a whole, you know, series of colleagues and friends and associates and affiliates and everything else over the years. They seem to multiply every day. We're concerned about humanity. We're concerned about what's going to happen in human life, what's happening to human life, what's going to happen, what has happened in the past. You know, we see that we variably have a particular, I want to say, enemy that wants to eliminate us, that wants to take away our rights as human beings. You know, whether colored or painted, black and white, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so look, I'm concerned. This title of this audit, this good work, it's preliminary, folks, okay? Most of the stuff is just preliminary. We have the whole future to work these things out. Not that we have that much time. We need to continue to do it right now. Okay, so, look. 4 ways the system tries to hold us back. You know, the system. I didn't say the he, the she, the we, the they, the insanity. And 4 ways the system tries to hold us back from our awakening. Once again, all credit, all due respect, and everything else goes to Philip Schneider. He put this together to this point. What there is to be offered to you just a few weeks ago, June 2016. You can get more of this from Waking Times website. Waking Times website. Okay, so there you got it. Okay, so let's move on here. Let's move on. Hey, don't sound political. Let's move on. Let's continue. We are living in truly extraordinary times. There's no denying it. You know, the veil of secrecy is being lifted like never before in history. In this time of awakening, humankind is drawing back the mask and emerging as a truly special species. You know, in a very small amount of time, as compared to infinity, but particularly in the past few years, more people than ever have broken free from the matrix paradigm of religion and dogma into a new one based on free thought and unity. Interest in alternative medicine, media, and has expanded worldwide, and completely exploded since 2012-2013 period of the end of the Mayan calendar and the beginning of the Snowden revelations. Both of these events and more have served the spiritual and intellectual alarm clocks for many people on the planet. The emergence of more intriguing, intrusive technologies has also served to spark, like the spark plug. Huh? Hey, how you doing, boss? Spark plug, huh? The spark plug on a Harley Davidson. Anyway, like I was saying, the emergence of more intriguing and intrusive technology has also served to spark the big question for people. Who are we? Why are we here? What is really reality anyway? Why is it that about 8 billion of us have been placed here on this planet at this time? The answer to that question varies depending on your particular belief system. But one thing is certain, we're here to make things right for the future. Let me repeat that. There is one thing that is certain, and that's that we're here to make things right for the future. However, certain power interests have a different idea. Certain power interests have a different idea. Yes, sir. The bamboozle. It's hard. It's hard for the average good-willed person to imagine how someone might behave when given such power and privilege over the rest of the population. If you take a look at the history of power, men and women, you'll find an alarming amount of well-documented information that paints a much more sinister picture than the one created by the mainstream media and education system. One example would be Operation Northwoods. And in an early 1960s Department of Defense, SDOD, document outlines the plan for providing a war with Cuba by implementing terrorist attacks in the form of bombings and false flags attacks on American soil. This tactic of bait and switch, been used for centuries to coerce the public into supporting wars they wouldn't otherwise support. Also note, the Gulf of Tonkin incident, of which Secretary of State Robert McNamara later admitted never occurred. Check that out. We have all proof of that. In the summer of 2013, when Obama tried coercing the public into bombing Syria based on scant information about a chemical weapon attack that later ended up committed by U.S.-funded rebels. It is important to understand, folks, that the elite use many methods to keep world events moving in their favor. And for that reason, here are four of the most insidious ways in which the system is keeping us from awakening to the truth. All right, here we go. What do you know? All right, let me give you some more on that. One of the ways, as I said, what did I offer to do? 4 ways. Okay, I'm going to give you 4. I'm going to give you 4 that seem to be the most, predominant. One is information warfare. Information warfare. What do we got here? Okay, propaganda and the control of information is the very cornerstone of any type of totalitarianism. Without control of the media, the narrative, it is very difficult to keep a population subservient to their masters at the top. This is the reason the First Amendment of the United States specifically mentions a free press. Democracy does not work without a free flow of truthful information. In other words, what you're hearing is a lot of lies. How can you vote on something that's a bunch of lies, right? There is no real voting, is there? There's no real save. It's all a bunch of lies, is there? Is there? Think of it this way. If a government wants to implement something that ultimately isn't good for the general public, then they will get backlash if they can't figure out a way to convince them it will be good for them. Get it? Let me go further than that. You can see this most clearly in the endless ways we're being coerced into war. But this comes up in all areas of society, particularly with technology. As it is noted by recent efforts of the media to promote microchipping technology for children. For this reason, the media has been steadily brought under the control of those with an elitist mindset who don't mind giving up human freedom for a moment in the sun. Below them falls the bootlickers, who are seemingly incapable of free thought. We get them all over the place. We get them around our dead land too. Haydersbury, San Francisco, everywhere and anywhere. They're there to promote the ideas of the elite, however obvious it is to them that this is what they are doing. A second way, where am I? A second way that the system tries to hold us back from our awakening is by chemical poisons and genetic manipulation. One of the most common things that people are awake to at this time is the chemical and genetic poisoning of our environment and our bodies. Corporations like Monsanto, for instance, are only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this area. Many people are still becoming aware of the effects of things like fluoride, which has been proven by multiple Harvard studies, as well as long-standing peer-reviewed medical journals like Lancet, to be very potent neurotoxins that is dumbing down not only children, but the entirety of the population through its purposeful addition into the water supply. Fluoride seems to fit in with lead, mercury, and other poisons that cause chemical brain drain. Hold on. This is more important than that, all right? All right, just hold on over there. Sorry, folks. I got to deal with others around here. The effect of each toxicant may seem small, but the combined damage on a population scale can be serious, especially because the brain power of the next generation is crucial to all of us. For some further studies on this, you should go to Felipe, that's Phillipe, Grandjean, Grandjean. He's a professor of environmental health at Harvard University. Give him a give him a visit. He's got some really good stuff on that. Anyway, the list goes on to include MSG, aspartame, whatever it's pronounced, poor nutrition, mercury in flu shots, massively high levels of heavy metals like lead in drinking water, and of course GMOs, which are not only grossly untested for human consumption, but have also been found to change our DNA. That is a serious word, DNA. The difference between a human and a reptile, right? The DNA. As GMO technology becomes more, let me get a little closer here to this here, more, what do you call, sophisticated, it is possible that the genetic scientists can intentionally alter DNA to create a more docile, more obedient population than with an incredibly tiny perception of the possible. A third way the system tries to hold us back from our awakening is religion, dogma, psychiatry, psychology, and the cult of scientism. However old, religion is still one of the top ways that our perceptions are being controlled by the elite. For centuries, the greatest ideas that much of the human population believed to exist came from one book called either the Bible or the Quran or the this or that. However, this belief has been morphed into the age of science. Now people believe things just because science says it is true. But have you ever thought about what science really is? Science is a means to an end, a way to get a grasp of our surrounding so that we can better understand the world we are living in. Above that, though a scientist's mind is a mind of discovery and ideas, the problem isn't science itself. The problem comes from the belief that science is a set of conclusions. We have concluded, this is it, the ultimatum, right? All right, but science is not a set of conclusions. So, it is a process. It's a way to check if something can be experienced more than once. Like seeing something out of the corner of your eyes and double taking to find out if what you saw was really there. Was it really there? Is it really there? Did you see it? Did you see it? You can't see me. Let me see, where am I? Hi. However, with emphasis on however, in the same way that if you were moving very fast on a train and thought you saw something out of the window before you turned the corner and your chance was gone, you can't always look back to find out if what you saw was really there. On this never-ending train ride we call the human experience. Oh Lord, it's early morning, folks. It's approximately 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm at some hotel in Seattle, Washington, SeaTac on the way to Portland, Oregon. I had a crew of 2. They've disappeared on me. Couldn't take it. It has to do with them, not so much me. I'm the one who takes the blame. The gap between this and that, what true it isn't, or what binding conclusions can be drawn by scientists, is not necessarily going to come out the same. The expectancies, this is this and this and that, this is going to happen because it has to cause and effect and all shit based on scientific so-called facts don't always hold up. Look, a whole governmental system in the United States is based on so-called scientific, fact-finding and application, all different bullshit. And you see, man, Uh, how to explain it? There's no explaining it. There's no way of rationalizing it. So uh, one of the best examples is consciousness. Let me give you an example. Consciousness, or the genetic awareness, that drives your body and the soul. Scientists largely dismiss the existence of the spirit because it doesn't exist in the realm of double-blind verification, verifiable info, and therefore must not be true. However, our clearly conscious experience flies in the face of this belief. Because mainstream scientists won't acknowledge it, our society is being taken in a direction that doesn't honor free will, consciousness, and important matters of the past. Instead, treating everything as purely material cause and effect relationships. A third way that the system tries to hold us back from our awakening as human beings is social engineering and surveillance. Although most people are unaware, the prospect of social engineering by the elites goes back quite a long ways. All the way back to the Frankfurt School and Tavistock Institute, where it all began, at least for modern day populations. For any who are unfamiliar, social engineering is the science of manipulating groups of people to the knowledge of social sciences and psychology, to be more specific, not just psychiatry, but psychology. This is also the basic principle in which data collection companies operate. When you voluntarily or unwittingly give up information, you give up something that can not only be used against you in ways such as blackmail, but you're giving up potential social engineering data as well. In 2014, mind you, it's only a couple of years ago, Facebook was found to have been conducting experiments on unwitting users to find out whether or not their moods can be changed by the content they see in the news feeds. They displayed depressing images and posts to find out if that would in turn, or what would in turn, make people depressed. It's measured by the content of their post and their reactions. Later, the study was found to have been linked to a DoD research project in civil unrest, Department of Defense, DoD. That's pretty stunning, isn't it? It's pretty interesting to know, isn't it? Isn't it? Emotion spread via contagion through a network. We felt that it was important to investigate the common worry that seeing friends post positive content lead to people feeling negative or left out. At that time, we were concerned that exposure to friends' negativity might lead people to avoid visiting Facebook. The Adam Kramer, I guess his name, Adam Kramer. He's the social scientist at Facebook. He says this was his response to our interrogative. And I'll quote him. He says, "We didn't clearly state our motivations in the paper." Huh? In other words, they didn't clearly, so if you don't clearly state something, then you're kind of deceiving a little bit, aren't you? You're not clearly passing it on. Anyway, mine is not the question, it's just to enforce security measures. There's a red, white, and blue, homie, ba-ba, anyway, maybe. Anyway, jeez, I'm so tired. I'm going to cut this short in a minute. All right, I'm almost ready to go to breakfast. Almost. This is another one of these instances where democracy falls to the dust. As the science becomes more fine-tuned, organizations become just Facebook, Twitter, or other social media organizations such as the NSA or GCHQ, could easily add inputs into people's daily experience to get them to think or behave in a certain way. Without freedom of thought and communication, all other freedoms are in jeopardy. Let me say that again. Without freedom of thought and communication, all other freedoms are in jeopardy. NSA whistleblower William Binney has spoken out on the implications of mass surveillance, such as the chilling effect and how the feeling of being watched limits our behavior. It is time to free your mind. In this time of awakening, it's important not to fall into a mindset of victimization. Although it may seem pretty grim when only looking at the negative, there are a whole lot of good things happening at this time as well. And that's probably all I have to give you for now. Keep it together. Peace and love. Enjoy the show. Dad and Company. And I'll be there. So you my friends out there over at Portland, Oregon already, those arriving. I'll be there. I hope to be. I'm on my way. As soon as I turn this off, I'm going to get breakfast, do laundry, and I'm on my way to Portland, Oregon. God bless you all. See you at the show. Peace and love. Adios.